Hello and welcome to episode 99 of the FPL Hangover podcast, where we raise the bar and lower the tone, all things FPL related. We're almost at triple digits. Episode 100 is just around the corner. But before we get to that, we have the small matter of a double game week 19 to digest, and we're going to look ahead to game week 20. So plenty to talk about. And here to talk through all that nonsense with me is my podcast partner in crime, Seamus. How are you getting on, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Could have been better. Game week 19 seems to have passed me by as a missed opportunity more than anything else. Looking like a red arrow. There's still two games left to go in the game week, but it's looking like a red arrow for me. You though, you could get a green arrow possibly. You're thereabouts. How's your game week going so far? You can update me here. How many players you got left?
I just have Salah left, I think. So we're recording, just to put this in perspective, we're recording this on the 20th of January, which today is a Wednesday. The Man United Fulham match is completely finished. And yeah, there's just the Liverpool Burnley match to take place tomorrow. And then we're all set. Game week 19 is behind us in the rear view mirror. We're leaving it in our dust. I'm not too disappointed with it. It's been fine. I'm currently on. We might as well just get to it, Seamus. I wanted to ask you how your week has been. Talk about how your fucking house is going, but yeah, no, you've already brought us straight to how the bastard and teams have turned out. So yeah, there's my team. It's on the screen for those of you using your ears. It's 95 points so far with a -8. So I've had, some of the usual suspects from game week 19: Stones, Justin, Kufal, De Bruyne was my captain, Fernandez, Son, Vardy, and then the ones not delivering: Bamford, Suchek. As I said, Salah is still up in the air to see what he comes out with this game week. So 95 points, -8 with one to go. I'm not complaining. I also didn't have a goalkeeper this week because of Meslier's sudden absence. So out of 10 players, meh, yeah, it's a
That's pretty good for
mild.
10 players.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a mild red arrow. Like I've dropped from going into this week. I was 58k, and now I'm currently sitting on 6k. So we'll see what the auto subs and the Liverpool match.
60k.
60k. My apologies. Yeah, good spot.
There's
That
gotta
would
be some
be
green arrow.
That'd be a pretty good fucking week. I don't think I could be quite as humble. But I'm not complaining. In game week 18, I kept the green arrows alive with the free hit. So I think I'm on like 12 straight greens. Since 2.4 million, I haven't got a red. So
No
I'm not.
way.
Yeah, I'm on.
I surely you got a red. I didn't
Nope.
realize you're still going. I thought you got a red arrow somewhere recently. That's
Nope. Sorry.
crazy.
Sorry, bitch. This is
Yeah.
keeping the show afloat. Keeping the the fucking, what's it called when you have a reputation, keeping the reputation alive. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But
I've
how's
got,
your week been going, James? Enough about
yeah,
me.
I'm impressed by you, Jer. 12 in a row. I've got 12 green arrows in my last 14. I have two reds in the middle of it there. And I have my rank over the last 2 weeks from like a one just outside the 1 million to just outside 500k. But it's looking like a red now. Live FPL has me projected, and like before today it was a green, but that City game did me. My captain De Bruyne only getting 1 point didn't really help, and Man City keeping a clean sheet. And who got the goals in that game?
Of
Gundogan
course, you're leaving
again.
out the one player that you didn't have this week. That seems to have been the biggest talking point. I'm sure we'll see puns aplenty in titles of many other FPL podcasts, but not in this one. And this one, it's strictly heavy metal song titles. No trolling Stones, or what was the one you had, Seamus? Did you have a John Stones pun?
A tale of two Johnstones.
That was it. Yeah, Tale of Two Stones. I think it sounds better. Rose off the tongue. But yeah, you didn't have him, and you were pretty bitter a couple of nights ago. Pretty bitter.
Yeah, in our private group chat here, you were getting a lot of praise for genius moves, and I was like, hang on a second here. Like, getting John Stones is a good move, but it's not like, a fucking genius move. Anyone could see getting a City defender was a good move this week. Um, I made mistakes this week, and I can talk about that, but like, you were not getting John Stones going, you know what? I think he's going to get his first ever Man City goal in I don't know how many, 100 appearances or whatever. I think he's going to get his first goal this week, and I actually think he might get 2 goals in the
You know
same
what they
game.
say. You know what they say, Seamus. It's like buses. Your Premier League goals, your inaugural Premier League goal is like a bus. As soon as one comes, a second one's right behind it. No, no, you're right. You said it before we hit record in the sense that, and I agree with it. There was a lot of shit online about it as well in terms of people getting ready, that people were celebrating, and people, probably it was just a little rubbish. But you had people kind of bring up a valid point, and I do agree with it. And you did also touch on it in the sense that no one was getting John Stones ahead of Cancelo and Diaz. They just couldn't afford either, or they already had them and they were getting Stones on top of
Yeah,
it.
if you're getting a second City player, you get the 5 million guy, But like, if I had a free hit this week, I would have got. I wonder would have got Cancelo because I think he was due a rest, but I definitely would have got Cancelo and Diaz, or Diaz plus John Stones. I would have gone for double defense. I went for double defense last week in my free hit team, and that worked out
Worked.
well.
Yeah,
But yeah, John Stones is always a good choice. But I mean, to come out of it, like he's got 27 points.
it's
Like
crazy.
that's crazy. That's as high as like a points score in a single game. He's probably the highest uh, game week scorer in a single game week this season.
Yeah,
So
probably this season. He's 21 point haul against who was it?
Crystal
The
Palace.
Crystal Palace. He's 21 point haul against Crystal Palace, was I think 5 points short of the highest ever, or I think 27 is the highest ever gotten by a defender in one single game week, and 21 is only
And that
what
was
6
probably
points off.
Laporte in a double game week a few seasons
I
back,
think it was
probably.
Graham Alexander or something like that. I think
Uh,
it's an old one, but I did read that it was probably the only good tweet I've read from the official Fantasy Premier League Twitter account in ever. Like I was like, oh look, this is what you should be doing all the time. This is what I would follow you for and
Interesting
like it.
facts.
If it
Yeah.
wasn't just some fucking edgelord troll fuck sending passive aggressive tweets out to the people that literally play, that pay his wages. But look, we're not going to get bogged down in the John Stones too much. I think, as you said, there are and were better City options. They just didn't happen to top his score this week. I mean, Diaz also got like 11 points in that first game and picked up a clean sheet today as well. So I mean, he's
When
coming out with at least
when he
17.
got his second goal, I have to say I celebrated in a way because I was like, De Bruyne put in the cross, and I was hoping someone would score from it. I was like, another assist from my captain here would be brilliant. But then Diaz got the header, and I was like, it was saved. I was like, oh, thank God, because I don't. My one thing this week is I don't want City defenders. John Stones has already scored. I don't want City defenders. So the last thing I want is Diaz to score. It's like, oh, thank God, that'll probably work in De Bruyne's favor. He'll get, created a big chance, so that'll work for him for the bonus. But he didn't actually score, and then it was smashed in. I was like, who was that? It's like, oh my God, it's John Bloody Stones. And I was like, the one person I don't want. And look, not like he's still actually very lowly owned. I think he's like 10% owned, but his effective ownership in my rank this
13%.
week is that, well, that's probably now because I think everyone just piled into him afterwards. But he was something around 10 or 11% at the start of the game week. But around my ownership, his effective ownership was 30%. So it still wasn't that high. It didn't crucify me. The most sickening thing was he was a player I wanted. And the mistake I made this, I'll actually tell you the team I got in now. Right now I'm on 71 points. So my projected rank post auto subs at the minute with 2 games to go, including Robertson and Salah on my team still to play, is about 100k drop from 518k down to 612k. No points for my single game week players apart from Son, who got 5. Dallas, Bamford, and McCarthy, yeah, they were all going to be double game week players until their game got cancelled. So that was a kick in the stones, but I went with it. I had Cresswell, he got 10.
Ah,
Yeah, there's ways about it. I had Cresswell, 10 points. Suchek, 4 points. De Bruyne, captain, 16 points. Salah did nothing. Fernandez got the assist tonight, which was debatable. But I guess under the letters of law, I suppose it is if his intended target was Cavani. So he got 8 points.
I'll
But the
fucking
real
take it.
saviors were in defense. Cresswell with the 10, Justin with 14. And Justin would have been on my bench had I made the moves I was looking at, I guess. And Robertson's there with 6, and I'm hoping for more. I'm hoping for more from Salah, even though Salah's points probably won't really impact me. It's all about what Robertson does.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't stretch to getting a Man City defender without taking a -4 or a -8. And then I was like, yes, that's going to strengthen up that area of my team, but I'm going to have to take out, basically, I had to take out Robertson to do it. I didn't want to take out Robertson, and there was no other way to do it rather than ripping up my team. And then I was like, what way is my team going to look in game week 20, 21? I'm going to have to make more transfers to get these out. So I was like, it might be a -4, it might be a -8, but it's really a -12 because I'm going to be committing more transfers to correcting this down the line.
I
Now,
get you.
your -8 was immediately paid back by John Stones alone.
It
So it was
was.
worth it. I should
It
have just
was.
had some fucking balls and actually made the moves.
You're like, but you were a rarity. I actually, come the deadline, game week 19 deadline, I was a little bit. I don't know if impressed is the right word, but I was definitely. I definitely sat up and paid attention to the fact that you had made no changes. You rolled your transfer going into game week 19 and just said, "Fuck it, I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm happy enough with the team I have, and no reason not to." Looking at it there, and those who are watching on YouTube. Those who are watching on YouTube, you're also seeing his screen, and if you would be so kind as to hit the subscribe button, that would be much appreciated. But yeah, you went in like a little ostrich egg this week. No hits, a rarity in the FPL community, and yeah, it kind of backfired, as you said. There wasn't a whole lot you could have done like that you were thinking about that wouldn't have paid off this week. You mentioned Kufal, City Defense. You were looking at all these, and
All the players I looked at scored. Like
Antonio.
I could have went, as I said, I really wanted to get a Man City defender in there, but I didn't want to rip my team. I easily could have went Dallas to Kufal.
But
And
you're
I
doing the
said,
City Defender next week, so it's not like you're ripping your team up.
yeah, but here's the thing. It all came down to like I didn't have the balls, and a lot of it came down to the short turnaround between game weeks and how busy I was this week, and I didn't have time to just sit there analyzing it. I think I remember talking to you, and you said were sitting at your desk looking at your team for a good few hours Friday night, talking to your missus, kind of bouncing ideas off her before you
Oh
eventually pull
yeah.
the trigger on your moves. But I didn't have that time Friday. I've been doing stuff like prepare, like we're about to move house for the first time in like 10 years. So there's a lot of stuff to move. And I just haven't had time. I was working Saturday morning. So I was like, I can't make my mind up here. And when I can't make my mind up, I'm like, I know what I want to do next week. They've got City of three nice fixtures coming up, and I have a move to get 2 City defenders in. But the only way I could do it this week was to get rid of Robertson. I was like, I just have a feeling Robertson will go big, and maybe I can get away with not having City. Now that fucking boned me, but maybe I should have just went. You know what? Get Kufal in for Dallas. I just didn't want to double up in that West Ham defense. It would have been the right move. I would have made an extra like 13 points. Fuck it. And
Look,
it was Antonio that killed me, and it was Man City defenders that killed me this week.
yeah. I mean, they didn't kill you too bad. It's not like they fucking ripped you to pieces. Like you're still, doing okay. 71 points, pretty.
No,
It's
but I mean, I
fine.
was on a green arrow until Antonio scored. Until that game yesterday, where Kufal and Antonio came away with points, and then Man City afterwards came out with well, it was Man City today. But those games turned like a small green arrow into a red arrow. I'm quite a kind of a big red arrow, like 100%, 100k red arrow from 500 to 600k. That's like according to this, it's an 18% rank percentage change. And
Yeah.
after the Villa Newcastle game and after the Liverpool game, it could be more. So look, it's not the bad. It's not the worst. It's a missed opportunity. I
It
had
is.
anyone who played their bench boost, anyone who free hit it, or anyone who wildcarded last week in game week 18 before this and got in like Triple City and West Ham players and stuff like that. These are the players that are smiling smiling right now. They've really made big gains.
Well, I'm kind of smiling right now a little bit. Like as you said, I took a -8 this week, and I did spend a long time mulling it over. I don't accept your bullshit excuse of being up to walls, because when I say I was sitting here at my desk, I wasn't sitting here in my fucking pajamas at 5 o'clock in the evening. I was sitting here like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, thinking it over. Don't act like you weren't at home at that stage, and you could have been doing the exact same thing. But I was sitting here, and it was actually kind of, I wouldn't say stressing me out, but it's as close to stressing me out as I get with FPL. I even spoke, as you said, to to herself, and I said, like, she said, what's the issue? And she doesn't have a fucking clue what's going on. She's not a big football fan, let alone an FPL fan. So she asked me what was going on. I explained to her, look, I'm thinking of getting out Robertson and Son. They're the 2 highest scoring players in the game, and I'm thinking of doing X and Y. And she just kind of said, without really even looking up from whatever she was doing, she's like, well, that doesn't sound like it makes a whole lot of sense. And when she said it, I was like, oh, you bitch. I was like, you're right. I was like, of course I can't go -8 and get rid of the 2 highest scoring players. Maybe I can half it. And then I said that to her later on. I was like, I'm just going to get rid of one of them, Robertson. And she was like, yeah, that sounds about, a bit more fair. And I did, and as I said, he got the clean sheet this week, but he's not going to get 21 points tomorrow against Burnley. Here's me now, foot in mouth. This is exactly what's going to happen. Yeah. Destroy my -8 altogether. But I took the -8. I got rid of Robertson. I got rid of Rashford, who only got a 3-point return this week, and I got rid of my Taylor. Burnley, not my Taylor. He's a long-time family friend. I'll never get rid of him.
You're precious.
But, yeah, exactly. But I got rid of Taylor for Burnley, and he missed the first one. He might play the second, but he did miss the first one. And Stones.
Who did you get for Taylor?
Stones.
Who did you get for Robertson?
Sorry, I got Stones for Robertson, but I got Mitchell for Taylor, which would allow me to upgrade Rashford to De Bruyne. I had to take. I was 0.1 from going Robertson to Stones, Rashford to KDB. That was the real sickener for me this week. Was 0.1 off it, and I was like, come on, get out of town. But look, I bit the bullet. I'm not complaining now, and we are what we are. So yeah, game week 19. It's kind of in the rearview mirror now a little bit, at least to anyone who's going to be listening to this at this stage. It's done. There's that Liverpool match left. A lot of triple digits I'm seeing, a lot of big accounts getting massive weeks, bench boosts working out all over the shop. Not so much the triple captain though, which was a big question going into this week. Triple captain De Bruyne, I haven't seen a whole lot of successful triple captains. Vardy's didn't work out. As I said, KDB didn't work out. There wasn't a whole lot else.
I'm seeing 100+ points in, or scores in the 90s at least in lots of mini leagues I'm in. But our own kind of main rivalry mini league with us and some of our buddies.
The original, the OG mini league.
Yeah, the OG mini league. No one there. You've got the highest with like a net 87 points after your hit. No one's in the triple digits there. But it's just, it feels like it could have easily been in trouble. If I free hit it this week, it's like all the players would have come in. That Antonio was just a risk too much. And again, I was 0.1 off getting Shea Adams to Antonio. I didn't have enough in the bank. There was another one. I was like, do I want to do that? But again, this would have all been facilitated by getting rid of Robertson. I don't know. Liverpool and City, none of these guys are, like, they're all killing me this year. When I don't have Salah is banging in goals, even though he's not playing well. If I bite the bullet and go, well, I'm just going to have to get Salah. Salah goes on 3 games in a row where he does fucking nothing. And then if I'm like, Robertson's keeping clean sheets, I get Robertson, he's keeping some clean sheets, but like not compared. He's like getting outscored massively by Stones and stuff. So just can't make big gains. It's just a struggle this year. And at least I'm back to 600k now. I'm in a position to finish top 100k. That's got to be my new goal. My goal was to get top 50k, 20k if I could get there. But if I can get a 5-digit rank, I'll be happy enough. I'll just take it and move on. It's just
chin up.
Just not
chin
working.
Up, Seamus.
Yeah,
chin up, old boy. I would like to pass my apologies down to any of the viewers on YouTube because I just realized I haven't been actually sharing the screen I thought I was sharing. So I thought I was going through my team and your team with the visuals to accompany it. Not the case. They're there now, but that's all. That's all in the past. See, this is why you should only listen to us on podcast, Seamus. I don't know how well we're translating to the visual format here. I mean,
shut up, Jar. Like, subscribe, rate. You're not selling this, Jar.
I know. I'm just I think a little.
They won't get to see your great beard, if they're just listening to this.
Oh, stop it. There's plenty of better beards. But that's what my dad always said. He said, there'll always be someone with a better beard than you, son. So just shave it, you bald prick. He didn't say that. But
No,
look,
nice
that's
man.
enough looking back at game week 19. Let's look ahead before we look ahead. Actually, I nearly skipped out on what was my highlight of the game week. I actually got a lovely delivery just before the game week deadline. I think it arrived on the Friday, so I unpacked that, and I actually do have the visual accompanying it there. Anyone who is listening, you can check this out on our Twitter page at FPL Hangover. But a lovely little package arrived this week from Kinniger's Brewery in County Donegal, up north. Full of fucking cans. I won the Irish Manager of the Month in the Fantasy Kings. I nearly said Cash League. Not allowed to that anymore. In the Fantasy Kings Prem League, and I took home a Kinniger fucking hamper thing. So they sent out a bunch of bottles, a bunch of cans. I'm gonna actually drink one here tonight, live on air. I'm gonna set the skull that pretty soon. But yeah, you can see it there. A bunch of lovely, 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 lovely cans, and I know a load of people that listen to this love their craft beer a lot more than I do. Like, I like my craft beer, but I realistically drink, piss out of a fucking Wellington. Like, that's the way that's the way I was raised. And yeah, this has been a fucking revelation a bit over the weekend. There was recommended to us by the dude abides on Twitter. He was suggesting the Thumper, and I was thinking, oh, he knows his craft beer, he loves his craft beer. Fuck it, but it probably won't be for me, which is usually what I think of when I come to craft beer. It's like, I'm sure it's amazing, but it'll be a little bit too hoppy
It'll be
or
lost
something.
on you, yeah. That's
But
what I
this
always think
wasn't.
with craft beers. Is like this is wasted on me. It's over my head. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no, but this wasn't lost to me. This beer, actually, I would recommend it. I'll definitely get you a couple of cans of it some stage, Seamus. Thumper beer by Kinniger Brewery. All in all, I can't thank them enough for that savage little kit they sent there. There's even coasters, Seamus, beer mats, which is something that I think the FPL Hangover is going to have to invest in pretty soon. Some FPL Hangover beer mats. If you want to see that shit, leave a comment below, and we might actually pull our finger out of our holes. But back to FPL, back to reality. Yeah, game week 19 is nearly done. Game week 20 though, that's kicking off pretty soon, Tuesday. So what, 4 or 5 days away. We've got a weekend of FA Cup matches. I don't know the FA Cup fixtures. I haven't really looked at them. I know there's a few, but I also know Villa are playing Newcastle the weekend, so there is a little bit of FPL action, which is a nice change of pace. Usually, the FA Cup weekends are just void of any FPL information, but not this weekend. We're going to get to see our ranks plummet even further, Seamus, for not having any Villa defenders. How are you thinking that Villa Newcastle game is going to go?
Well, it's going to go one way. Aston Villa are going to beat Newcastle to within an inch of their life. Newcastle are one of the worst teams in the league. They're terrible. They had a good start. They got points on the board. If you watch their form lately, like Sheffield United are beating them. Like that.
Yeah.
That tells you all you need to know. So yeah, no. I'm honestly looking at my team right now for next game week, for game week 20, and I realized Leeds are playing Newcastle. I'm like, I put the captaincy on Bamford right now because I just don't think I want to trust Kevin De Bruyne anymore. And I just realized he's got a flag. So I didn't see tonight's games. You said he went off injured, did he?
He went off on the 58-minute, 59-minute, I'm sure some will claim. But according to FPL, it was the 58-minute. And maybe that was a dig at the general. They were like, no, we're not giving you the 59 fucking minute. Fuck you. That's a no. But yeah, he went off 58 minutes. He was kind of holding his leg a little bit, and he spoke to Pep. Apparently, it was a bit of a muscular injury. So they said after the game they'd see how that was in the next few days. The usual post-match, cliches. Oh, we'll have to take time to see blah 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 blah. Which, to be honest with you, it's probably a little unfair to them. That's honestly what would need to be done if that was any injury.
I'm gonna cross my fingers anyway, and I'm gonna hope that that's just code for he's not gonna play the FA Cup game. But he's back for the West Brom game.
I have my team up on screen there, Seamus, and I actually don't have Bamford captain. I'm going with a home match against Sheffield United. Fernandez, he's got the big C at the moment. He got an assist tonight. As you said, a somewhat fortunate one, I suppose. But United is in pretty decent form, back to top of the league. They're having a laugh, and pretty fucking tight up there. But we're still sitting at the summit, and while that's the case, I don't really have much of an issue captaining Fernandes. I mean, I know we all kind of know he's away record, but like he's on penalties. It's not like he doesn't perform. He got a goal in his last home match against Villa. He's got a goal, 2 goals and assist against Leeds at home. So it's not like he doesn't perform at home. He's just, yourself. Everyone knows Fernandes at this stage. I'm not going to wax lyrical about it.
Yeah.
But he's got my captain right now.
He's the obvious pick.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be thinking with Leeds losing at the weekend to Brighton 1-0, or not the weekend, but in the previous game week. You have to be a little bit concerned about Leeds' form, or do you think this will just be a walk in the park?
Well, I think it will be a walk in the park because I just think Newcastle are that bad. I kind of rate Newcastle to be so much worse than how good Leeds are.
Yeah.
Leeds, look, Brighton, they play Brighton at home. And if you watch that game, the game looked like it was played on a fucking farm, like some fucking field that had been torn up by a fucking combine harvester. The pitch looked just torn up. It was like weather conditions played a factor in that as well. But that Leeds pitch just looks like pretty much of a disaster. So I'd actually lean away from captaining Bamford if he was playing at home, because I think the pitch would just negatively impact Leeds' performance. And yeah, I think there's going to be a reaction against Newcastle. Newcastle are a poor team, and they haven't got that crap pitch to contend with, so could be an idea. Bruno's looked tired to me. It was one of the reasons I didn't triple captain De Bruyne this week. Is De Bruyne's looked tired, but like he obviously had such good fixtures, I was still captaining him. I didn't have Vardy, so I maybe would have considered him otherwise. I considered Salah, and Salah could still go off against Burnley here, but Salah looks off it too. Both of the main captaincy options this week looked off it. And yeah, I think Fernandes still looked off it again today. He'll try things and he'll create things. He got lucky with the assist, like you said. I think he just whipped in a ball. Technically speaking, if it's a shot and his keeper spills it, that's an assist. But the thing is, he was the only one in the box. You could say he was the intended recipient of the pass or the cross, so it should be an assist. So yeah, I wouldn't go against anyone going for Bruno. It's on paper the best picture. I just think I'm just going to try something different. I'm just going to try and have a bit of fun this week. I think I'm going to try and captain Bamford.
I think you're full of shit. I think you're going to have the captaincy on a big hitter come.
On my captain's Son. Like Son is the other person I might captain at home against Liverpool. If I'm honest, because Liverpool's away record is fucking terrible.
Yeah, how do you see the Liverpool Spurs match going?
I could see Spurs winning.
Yeah.
Well, it depends now. Is Matip back? If Matip is back, then it might be a bit different. But Son up against Trent Alexander-Arnold could be a good one. Like the Spurs play better when they're playing against these bigger teams. I know Liverpool narrowly beat them 2-1 the last time they played them only a few weeks ago. But away from home, they've been actually terrible. So I would say I can't see a Liverpool clean sheet. I'm probably going to sell Robertson this week for a City defender. That's the plan, at least. So, I think Son could be.
If you put your money where your mouth is, what result do you think the Liverpool Spurs matches?
I'd say maybe 2-1. Or maybe 1-0.
Spurs?
Maybe even 1-0 Spurs. That's the only reason I may not. To Spurs. I think that might be the only reason I don't captain Son is like I think there might be only one goal in it, and that could easily be a Harry Kane penalty or something like that. So I think there's probably more likely chance of Leeds putting a few goals past Newcastle, or United against Sheffield. United against Sheffield, but you think there's goals in it, but United are due a big win. I'm just afraid that Fernandes may not be the person getting the goals. Could be just Rashford hat-trick, Martial a couple of goals, Cavani getting a couple, Greenwood a goal or two. So
when is that ever? When was the last time United got do you know what? Actually, I think the last time United got a bunch of goals was and Fernandes didn't deliver anything was against Sheffield United in the away fixture this season. If memory serves me correctly, if it wasn't this season, I think it was this season.
I think you could consider Leeds when they beat Leeds 6-2 probably a game where there was a rake of goals.
No, no. I was saying when that Fernandez didn't actually get a return. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Burnley away,
No,
Liverpool
my
away.
in a massive scoring match. My point was,
Oh,
I
sorry.
remember that away fixture against Sheffield United last, or I think it was this season, obviously, and
3-2.
I captained Bruno, and I just needed. I think it was the last game week of the season, the last match of the game week, and I was going brilliant. Here we go. Someone else is blanked. I think people had captained KDB or Salah. They had blanked, and I was rubbing my hands. And yeah, Bruno. It was his first away blank in the United jersey. I think if memory serves me correctly.
I
So
hear you.
yeah, maybe I'm tempting fate a little bit by doing it all over again. But you know what they say: fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you still, because I will not be fooled again.
Well,
But
you could say a thing about just his home record, okay? There's a lot being said that he's an away machine and at home he's not so good. His last three home games, he scored 10, 6, and 17 points. So
oh
that's 33 points in three games at home, his last three games at Old Trafford. So I wouldn't worry about that so much. That's kind of tempting me to go back and put the armband on him now.
yeah, I guarantee you, come deadline, you're
Talk
gonna have
myself
the
into it.
captain on fucking Bruno. I'm actually struggling this week with my defense and looking at the upcoming matches. You've got like a lot of potential clean sheets. I think City against West Brom is almost I would say it's a banker for me. With how tight City have been at the moment at the back, I can see them easily keeping a clean sheet. Burnley away for Villa. That's another one where I think could be interesting. It's worth noting that Target came off tonight on the 70th odd minute and kept his clean sheet for Villa, but I don't know if that was due to a potential injury. That was the only thing I was wondering, if this is Dean Smith protecting him from getting that booking and missing the Newcastle game. But it seemed very strange to be substituting, a defender who was having a pretty decent game, with 15 minutes to go, and it's still so tight at 0-0. So I would suspect he picked up a bit of a knock. We'll find out more about that in the next coming or in the upcoming days. But again, a Villa owners will be pretty happy with an away match to Burnley. That's going to be a pretty low XG kind of game, I'd imagine. Well, at least from
Yeah,
the
if you've got Martinez, if you've got Grealish, if you've got Watkins, you're holding on for there. Wouldn't give out with that. Likewise, the other team that looked like Villa and FPL, West Ham have a
yeah,
good
away to
game
Crystal
away
Palace.
to Crystal Palace. So I'll be starting Soucek and Cresswell this week. That's not a worry. Probably not expecting massive hauls from any of those, but I think there's a good chance of a clean sheet for Cresswell and Soucek. So those are pretty good.
Sufal, yeah. Suchek actually though.
Sufal.
Yeah, Suchek though. Thomas the Blank Engine, as I've seen floating around the place. People pretty upset that he returned Zilch in the double game week. I said it to you today. I don't think it should be that shocking. A 5 million midfielder, if Mark Noble, 2 years ago, if you got Mark Noble into your West Ham team and he got nothing in a double game week, you wouldn't be really overthinking it. You go, yeah, he's 5 fucking million.
Yeah, yeah. So what's he got? Like if he's got 4 points from in one game week for something that costs 5 million, he's got like 80% of his, you know, uh, price back in points.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, I'm happy enough with that. I mean, it would have been nice. I think it was set up for some points, but it didn't happen.
I think it was
Got a
set
chance
up
this
for
week.
fucking Antonio, wasn't it? Though that was the thing. I'm with you in the sense that, like, obviously anyone looking, and we mentioned him last week, anyone looking to make a transfer in the forward line in game week 19 was looking at Antonio. I mean, West Ham had the two nicest fixtures. The only question was, would he be able to play the two games? There was lots of doubts over
Yeah,
whether he'd start both games, and I know that put me off a little bit, and I'm sure it put you off.
yeah.
So,
Fitness concerns. If
but it
he
didn't
had been
matter.
fit,
18-point return.
yeah. If he'd been, and look, it was lucky as well. I can't say much about the second game week because I didn't see it against West. Was it against West Brom?
Yeah,
The first game against who was it?
first match against Burnley.
Burnley, yeah. Like he got a lucky goal there. You don't normally see Burnley concede the goal that he scored in that game, where the Ben Mee misses his header and like basically
Yeah,
flicks it onto him 2 yards out, and he just taps it in on the post. Like normally Burnley just clear every single ball into the box like that. In fact, if he hadn't even touched it, whoever's behind him, Tarkowski, I assume, would have just cleared it. So very lucky goal. Didn't really do a whole lot. I can't really speak too much for the second game, but it was inevitable he'd score. When I didn't think he'd start. I didn't think he'd play so many minutes.
That's the
Um,
thing.
yeah, but it would have been nice to take a gamble on. If you're going to take a gamble on one player, it would have been him. Um, yeah, so look, fair play to anyone who did get them. And look, they've got nice fixtures. I assume he's got a few days break now before the next game, so he'll be okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
player I'd like.
laughing. But
What way is your team looking for this upcoming game week? Is there any fixtures you'd look to target?
not specifically. I mean, like, I kind of want to take a bit of a breather now that the double game week and the free hit have passed us by. Like, I know you have your two frees, so you're going to be making some wholesale changes to your squad. But I kind of prepped for the double game week, with game week 20 in mind, as I'd imagine most managers do, and that means that I'm probably going to roll a transfer this week. I do have a bit of an issue with Meslier, as I said at the top of the show. He missed the weekend's fixture against Brighton. I think he's got COVID. I'm saying that with skepticism, but I'm assuming it's COVID, and he missed the match. But hopefully he's back soon, so I might have to sort out that goalkeeper situation. But other than that, I'm rolling in with the classic midfield five: Son, Fernandez, Suchek, Salah, De Bruyne. My secret weapon, and someone who was a bit of a damp squib this weekend, was Jamie Vardy, or this double game week was Jamie Vardy. He blanked in both matches, Southampton and Chelsea, delivering 2-point returns in both. It looked like a bit of a doubt for the Chelsea match, but overcame any of that. Played the 90 minutes, and didn't do shit. But their fixtures coming up, man. If you look at Leicester's upcoming fixtures, it's Everton this week, an away match against Everton, who look a little bit resurgent. Their team is coming back together a little bit. Digne is back, is back, I assume. Rodriguez is coming back to fitness. And they have, so I'm not entirely convinced about their match against Everton on Wednesday, but right after that they have a home match against Leeds, and we know one thing about Leeds, regardless of how fantastic they are to watch, it's that they do love conceding shots. And I'm pretty happy to have a Jamie Vardy going into that Leeds match, following a Fulham, or just ahead of a Fulham match 4 days later. So I'm gonna be holding on to him for a little while.
Not just shots though. They all steam forward. They all pile forward to get involved in the attack, and they leave like very little in the defense. So they leave the back door open. So that like is primed for someone like Jamie Vardy in that game. Then they're playing Fulham after that, which is another great game. Yeah, Fulham been better recently, but they lost 2-1 here. They still haven't won like 7 games now? 8 games maybe?
Fulham?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you would think that's a good game for Vardy. Wolves after that away. I don't know what to make of Wolves. They seem to be persisting with a back four, even though it doesn't seem to be working for them. They've really been in bad form the last month. And I think, now maybe, who knows, by the time they play them on the 7th of February, Wolves could be in good form again. But I think, those games, apart the Everton game, I would agree. Everton seemed to up their game and play better against
Better teams.
the top 6 kind of teams.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm not really counting I'm not expecting a lot from the Leicester game, but I am hoping for a decent return out of that Leeds match. And Wolves, as you said, they're kind of like a no-go FPL zone for me right now in regards to their main threat is obviously out injured with Jimenez, and defensively they seem extremely leaky. I don't know. I don't even know 100% what that back lineup is going to be. Do you know, like, it's constantly changing. He subbed off Cody there 2 matches ago. First time ever Cody's been subbed off by DeSanto, and I'm not touching Wolves with a barge pole at the moment. But in regards to Leicester, it's all systems go, clean sheets, and Vardy's in my team. But what about you? Are you targeting any matches? I mean, I know I didn't really pick out one because I'm not targeting any specifically. I've already set up my team. But you, anything
the
in
game I
specific?
would target would be the two fixtures I think I would target would be Leeds against Newcastle away. I mentioned that already. I won't dwell on it. Yeah, and Man City. Man City away to West Brom as well. I would
Another
target
1-1. Another
that.
1-1 for West Brom.
No, no, I think there's goals in that game. I think they're in a much better position now than that Man City is than when they played them last time. Aston Villa against Burnley could be good, another one, but I don't know. I wouldn't rule out Burnley at the same time. I think that'll be a low scoring one. So it's hard to pin across that. And then the United Sheffield game is the other one. But other than Bruno, I don't really know where I want to go with Man United. So I think I'll just have Bruno, maybe captain him. You kind of talked me into it a bit more. I was a bit more down on them at the start, but wouldn't touch Chelsea. Brighton are playing Fulham. I wouldn't touch that game. Spurs, Liverpool. I mean, go in with the assets you already have, but I wouldn't be buying anyone or targeting anyone for that. Southampton, Arsenal is another one that could be tough. Could easily see Southampton winning that 1-0 or that being nil all. So yeah, if I can ask you a question here, because I just noticed something here, because I've brought in, my plan is to bring in two City defenders and attack that City game.
Yeah.
Okay. Banking on a clean sheet. Stones, I need a Cancelo and DS. Okay. That means getting rid of Robertson. I already said I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet against New Spurs. Who has who is the top scoring defender in FPL right now? Overtaken Robertson. He's no longer the top scoring defender in FPL. Do you know who it is?
James Justin.
No, although he is the hero of mine.
Yeah.
Personal success this year is getting on him straight away. It's Aaron Cresswell, actually. Surprisingly, I know he's been playing well as well. I was really surprised to see he's top of the defender charts. Now Robertson has a game tomorrow. This could change. He gets
What's
2 points.
points between the two?
There's only 1 point between them. It's 87 to
Okay.
Cresswell, 86 to Robertson. But so assuming Robertson gets 2 points tomorrow, he'll be top again. But I just thought it was interesting. I didn't realize how well Cresswell had been doing.
Well, I mean, it's just a symptom of how well. I mean, it just might sound redundant, but it's a symptom of how well West Ham have been doing. Like, I think this was up until that West Brom game, they were on 4 clean sheets in a row, or they hadn't conceded in 7 hours of football, and then Mateus Pereira comes along and bangs one in, which ended that. But yeah, their clean sheets have been phenomenal, and I think their future matches, their upcoming fixtures, as the professionals might say, not looking too bad. I mean, it gets pretty hairy around game week 25 with Spurs, City, and United in the next, in 3 of those 4. But in between those 4 is a Leeds one in 27. But look, we're getting into double game week and blank game week territory here. We're going too far ahead. Looking at the immediate matches, Crystal Palace away, pretty sexy from a West Ham defensive perspective. Liverpool at home, obviously not so much. But then Villa, Fulham, Sheffield. That's when it gets into that, and that's fine. I've no issues holding on to Soufal. You've went with the more expensive option. You've gone with Cresswell, and I think, as I said to you before the show or before we hit record, watching that first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes of the West Ham match, I was just looking at all the crosses. Now, maybe this was a case of, grass is greener on the other side syndrome. I'm looking at the player you have, or the premium asset from that West Ham defence in Cresswell, and he's just whipping balls in non-stop, and I'm just like, oh, Christ. Antonio's sticking his head on one of these. Turns out the opposite this week. Soufal got that assist. But going forward, would you advocate doubling up on a West Ham defence?
I wish I did this week. I definitely wish I did this week, but look, what can you do? I don't know if I double up on him now because, as I said, the time to do probably was just gone.
Yeah.
Sufal or Kufal or whatever, however you pronounce him, is a good pick. I wouldn't advocate Cresswell over him. Is he worth the extra money? I don't know. Maybe he'll prove to be, but it wasn't this game week, and he's better for the baseline bonus. Cresswell, that is.
And
But
he's on a load of set pieces, which Soufal isn't.
Sufal is a fine pick. I think that's all you need there. I don't know if I double up there. If you want to double up anywhere, you double up in City defense. Robertson's still probably a fine pick. I'm going to sell him to fund that. I just think their fixtures are a bit hit and miss. Okay, Spurs away, bad. They're just bad away. And the next 2 games in 2021 are away against 2 informed teams. Well, would you say Spurs are in form? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But they're good away from home. West Ham are away. Then they've got Brighton at home. Okay, that would be a clean. Man City at home, probably not. So, yeah, they've got only one good fixture in the next 4. So I would say, yeah, I'm gonna have to sell. Might keep Salah,
Same. I'm
but
with you. I actually have a defender up on screen here that I got in, as I said, this week with a minus, but it was kind of looking ahead to, not only is he extremely cheap, but looking ahead to their upcoming fixtures, and it might be a bit of a sneaky one, Seamus. But I've gone back to Tyreek Mitchell, a man who we visited, earlier on in the season. And if you look at Crystal Palace's upcoming matches, like, I mean, he'll be sitting on my bench for the vast majority of these. But a home match against West Ham, a home match against Wolves, then it's away against Newcastle and away to Leeds. So there you got four tricky matches. Like, you wouldn't be counting on clean sheets for any of them, but I'm happy to leave a 3.9 defender on my bench. Right after that, you come into Burnley at home, Brighton away, Fulham at home. Like, there's a clean sheet or two in there, I think. And depending on what the sitch is at the time, I've no problem keeping him sitting on my bench right now, especially when you had the likes of Dunn sitting there for what was 3.9 is now 3.8. I'd rather have a Mitchell.
oh, I'd always have rather have a Mitchell. Yeah, especially as soon as he came back into the team a while ago, I was like, oh, I really wish this was Mitchell because he had lost his place for a while.
Do you think he keeps his place now ahead of Van Aanholt?
Well, the thing about it is that, as well as you were saying, you'd rather wait like from game week 24 onwards, he's got nice fixtures. I mean, you could argue some of those other games. 22 against Newcastle away is a good fixture too, and
Yeah,
Wolves aren't tearing up trees, especially away from home. So, yeah, game week 21 maybe, but he might be out of the team by then.
that's what
I
I'm
personally
saying.
think he will be. It's still in the team. I think he'll keep his place. The reason he's in the team apparently is that Van Aanholt, apart from playing very, very poorly, and Crystal Palace fans calling for him to be dropped anyway, is out of contract at the end of the season and doesn't look like he's renewing his contract. So there's really no incentive for Roy Hodgson to play him. What
Yeah.
chances are, I know maybe they're going to try and sell him, offload him. Maybe he's going to be a free agent, is going to leave anyway. So you might as well get Mitchell more and more experience in game time if he's kind of the future of the club.
And
This guy,
he's had some fantastic games lately. Like, I
oh,
think
he's played really well in a few games there. What was the game? Arsenal? That Arsenal game he played
yeah,
excellent,
that's what I was
you know?
trying to think of. He played absolutely smashing in that. The
Yeah.
one that everyone got him off the bench for, of course.
Yeah. They also bought Ferguson there in preseason, who was meant to be amazing. Hasn't played a minute this season, has had some persistent injuries and stuff like that. Well, I wonder, would you see him coming in and taking game time before the end of the season? I mean, there's nothing to suggest he will. His injury problems just seem to be getting the better of him. So I don't know
Yeah.
why I don't prioritize it as a transfer, which is why I haven't done it before now. He's the sort of player when I saw him come back in, I was like, oh, I'd like to have him. But I'm not going to spend a transfer my fifth defender. I just leave down there with no points. There's been no
Yeah.
point this season where, even with COVID and all that, where I've only played 10 players because I haven't had enough players coming off the bench. I always have one or two playing subs, even if it's just Brewster for 1 point.
Well, I got my first 10-player game week of the year this week, of the season this week with Meslier. So I've lost my, full team virginity. But yeah, we're coming to the end of the show, Seamus. Is there anything you want to touch on before we wrap this all up?
Yeah, I think we've touched on the
Oh, I
games
got
that are
something.
important. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I just thought of something big. I was like, oh, I know what I've been trying to remember. Our 100th episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're done with Game Week 20. We'll fucking see you on the other side of it. But yeah, 100 episodes coming up, and we've got something special planned. We kind of hinted at it a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it's not that special in the grand scheme of things, but for us, it's the first, and we're gonna do our inaugural live stream on. Right now, it's up in the air whether it's Wednesday the 27th with that Man United Sheffield's match watch along, or do we push it to the Thursday 28th? We will obviously confirm that in the next couple of days and stuff. But maybe if you guys have a preference and you'd rather there's a specific match that you would rather us do a live stream of, then let us know down below, and that'll definitely swing us or give us some food for thought. But right now, we were kind of discussing the pre-show and we haven't fully made up our mind, but that's the plan for the 100th episode. It's going to be our first ever live stream. Hopefully we get a couple of regular listeners along with us, and it'll be interesting. I've never done it before. I don't really know what to expect. It's kind of the way I think the show will probably go in the long run, in the terms of this is essentially a fucking live stream anyway. I'm just putting it out after we finished, just in case Seamus does a classic Seamus and completely rats out a local crime lord and I have to remove it from the episode. But yeah, Seamus, you excited about that?
Yeah,
Episode 100?
I'll hold my hands up. It's a concern about that dropping a boo boo on these live streams. But no, we as I said, what we're doing right now is essentially a live stream. Just we're recording it and then submitting it afterwards. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, like you said there, definitely leave us something in the comments if you have a preference for the United Sheffield game on the Wednesday or the Spurs Liverpool game on the Thursday. Or send us a message on Twitter. So we can be found on Twitter at FPL Hangover. I'm at FPL Drunk. And yeah, there'll definitely be a few tweets in there. And I think as well we might start. We're gonna have to try and throw out some mugs here as well. I've got a heap of mugs here, FPL merch that we need to send
to advertised. Ooh! I wish I was
sexy
wearing
mug.
my sequin dress, but I'm not. It's just oh yeah, the listeners. Yeah, I'm showing off a mug to the camera. You can hear it though. Solid mug. That's a solid mug. No cowboys making that, Ted. No, there you go. Sip of beer, sip of tea for the working man. You probably can't read it, but it says it. Yeah, you're right, James. We need to start throwing them out because there is a couple of boxes lying around that we didn't really get onto. I suppose it's kind of tough. It's not like there's a global pandemic going on or something like that where we're not thinking of how do we throw mugs at people. But yeah, I think you suggested that we do, again, there'll be more info on this coming up, but that we do some kind of raffle live on air on the live stream. That
Maybe not a raffle live, but anyone who's in or watching us live and drops a comment or a like or anything like that gets automatically entered into a draw, and then we pull a name out of the hat or out of our ass and send a mug out to somebody
maybe
somewhere. And hopefully it's not somebody in like Central Africa or someplace that, because the postage, man, the shipping. Brexit.
I would gladly pay that
probably
stuff if it meant we had a fan sitting down in Central fucking Africa listening to the FPL Hangover. I would gladly pay the fucking postage for that shit.
To be honest, it's probably easier to send a mug to somebody in Gabon or Equatorial Guinea right now than it is to get someone in London with Brexit.
Exactly. So. Bang on, Seamus. You touched on the gory details there, but in case you missed it, you can reach out to us on Twitter at FPL Hangover, and Seamus is at FPL Drunk. If you do want to send us an email, any of the things we suggested tonight, you want to reach out to us, or just have the lols at fplhangover@gmail.com. That's the email address. Seamus, do you want to wish any of our listeners a nice message before their game week 20s?
No, you're putting me on the spot here, Jar.
I'll just not on the spot because I do this every episode. You have to, this.
I've started doing this again, but look, I'll just wish yours. May your hours be green, guys.
So that's why you said it. You want to blame me because you were going to revert to the meat. That's what you were going to do. You know what? I'm not.
Just because I said I had kind of almost retired that phrase. I hadn't said it like all season. I brought it back a couple of game weeks ago. But I'm gonna I think I got a green arrow that week, so I feel like maybe I should. It's a good luck charm.
So okay, well, may your arrows be green. You're right, James. And for me, as I said, lads, enjoy game week 20. Let us know what you think of the episode, and God bless.